Good morning, and welcome to Motivational Monday. It is Monday, and I hope that you all have had a wonderfully amazing weekend. And today's topic is going to be on mindsetting our way through the week. From start to finish, we are on Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. If you haven't already done so, we're going to ask you please to find and follow us if you choose to. And if you don't, that's okay too. We're on all major platforms for your favorite podcast listening. And we hope that you are finding us. And if you aren't, do us a favor and find us through our very own Facebook page. We're here for you. Vibe Talk is always about staying positive. And we want to hear your stories. Why? Because your stories inspire us. Your stories inspire us, and we're so glad to have you. We want to remind everybody that each year as we close out from the end of November to December, we celebrate all month long, starting at the end of November and all of December. So if there are any of you that are on and you're listening, good morning. Thank you for joining Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We're happy that you're here. And it's nice to be in the number 10 spot where we do our platform. We are here. And where are you listening in from? What state? Please and thank you. Guys, we have reached all 50 states. We've done this, and we're so proud. We're here, and we want to say thank you so much for joining us. If you joined our podcast now, we're going to tell you some information, and then we're going to get right down to Monday Mindset and what that means and what that can mean for you. Monday Mindset is going to be our topic, so stay tuned for us. We will be right back. We promise. We got to go to a commercial break, I think. Yes, we're going to commercial break.
Cause we're called Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Go check your favorite streaming platforms.
Feel free to be interactive and tell us your
Like
stories.
Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and so much more.
We're also on Facebook and Instagram.
Go give it a shot.
We're back. And thank you for joining us. If you're on the air with me now, or live with me now, please tell us what state you're representing. And we're waiting for my co-host to come in. And we're so excited to have each and every one of you. United States, thank you so much. We appreciate you. I am from Southern California. My co-host, who should be coming in live any minute, is from South Carolina. And we're so happy to have you guys. Now, what are you all thankful for? We don't forget that part because this is not just one day out of the year. Thankfulness is something to be grateful for every day. What are you all grateful for? Good morning and thank you for joining us. What are you thankful for? Anyone? I'm thankful for having woken up this morning. I'm grateful for that. I am grateful that I get to talk to you guys this way. And our listener says that they get to wake up and spend it on this earth. I love that. What about you, Trish? What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for family. I don't know where I would be without my family, so I'm thankful for my family.
Yeah. Now, as you're motivated and you wake up in the day and your morning fresh, isn't it a great way to think about and get started on being motivated to do something inspiring? Because we all have that ability to do something extremely, extremely amazing. We are all special in our own way. And that's what Vibe Talk does for you. To get to the thought of mind setting, I want you to think about your mindset. Because your mindset has to do with your mental attitude. And that's why we think about this topic, Mindset Monday. What does your mind tell you to do? How does your mind work? Not against you, but for you. And what is your attitude about your mindset? It's a great way to get started. Really great way. How many of you think that you have a strong mindset? I do.
I
And my
do.
mind is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said I do.
Yeah. And if you think that you have a strong mindset, you're off to a good start. But we are non-judgmental if you feel that that's something that you want to work towards. Today, we're going to leave it to you to be able to figure out your mindset. We're not going to give you the answers to that. And if you're online with me, I want you to go ahead and use your chat to be able to interact with us because we talk about a lot and we have you think about a lot. So if you have something to say, this is where you do it. Thank you for joining us. We want to also bring attention to Spotify, iHeartRadio, our YouTube page. If this is your first time joining us, we do have a YouTube page. Thank you, Trish, for making that happen. So now, our mental attitude is going to affect the way that you think about things, the way you respond, your outlook on life. You know, I work with a lot of people that are thinking, great thinkers. But sometimes Sometimes life presents a struggle. How many of you are struggling just to live your life? And don't be afraid, because when we admit to ourselves and are aware of things, we then can make effort to change something or to be motivated to change it. And we talk about the mind here, and we talk about our emotions. If you're not aware of your mindset, how can you do anything or make efforts to do this? We're going to be talking about mindsets. We talk about attitudes. What's your demeanor like? Or your frame of mind? What are you inclined to do? Your mental state, your mood. I'm a moody person. Anybody who knows that about me. What are your perspectives in life? Your moral values, how you feel about things, your point of view, your temperaments, your energy. When you're around people, what is your mindset doing? Because your mindset can influence a lot of things. Your approach, your true character, your disposition in life, your disposition in life, position in life, how you outlook on things, your way of thinking. What I like about Vibe Talk is Vibe Talk presents every individual to think and have the opportunity to think however you'd like to think. And then it gives you the opportunity to be able to hear the way others think and feel. Most of all, it affects how you look at things. You know, we're thinking about our mindset in that it's going to make a difference for you today and throughout the week. And we want to see how you're doing in your mindset. Let me ask you something. Come a little closer. How many times have you had in your mind to do something, but it didn't come out the way your mind perceived it? It came out a whole different way. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad, challenging. It just came out in a way that you didn't expect. Anybody?
That happens a lot of times with my music.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that, Trish.
Sometimes with my music, I have a plan how to sing a song or how to do the cadence of the lyrics of a rap song, and it doesn't turn out to be that way. Sometimes I end up switching around lyrics, or the note comes out into a whole different way that I didn't expect it to be, but I leave it there because to me it seemed like a mistake, but when I listened to it again, it wasn't a mistake. It was actually fire. It was good. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that, because I know even for me and hosting Vibe Talk, sometimes I will work on something that I want to talk about, and then I'll wake up and something else comes into my mind. And I usually go with that something else because there's a reason for that. And it ends up to be a really great podcast discussion. So is there anything with things coming out differently than we expected? What would you guys say about that? That's for you to decide. Now, in life, you can have a strong mindset, you because all of us are made and cut from different cloths, if you would. And the cloth is a representation that means symbolically we were born different. We think different. And that's okay. And that's why we don't have this podcast about controversies or opinionated. We just want you to feel what you feel, because your mind is an amazing place. You can influence others by how you feel and think. You can have others influence you. What is your mindset right now? Are you resolved? Because sometimes we make decisions in our lives and we have to be resolved to make the best decision. Now, the decisions that I may make may not be the decision that you necessarily make. So I'm not one of these life coaches that will say that's wrong, that's not right. And I'm also not going to give you the answer, because you are individually your own person. And that's what I want to talk about too. Recognizing your power to create for yourself any kind of mindset that you want to have. Mornings are always good, and that's why we always start this show in the morning, because we know many of you have woken up, but now for those of you who are deep into the day, we still give you something to think about. Are you determined? Being strong-minded? Because sometimes what we do in life, and I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen, we can be influenced by people who are not in the positive mindset. How do I know? I want you to stop and think. Look around you. A lot of what we see going on in our world today, something is influencing it. We talk about growth and development, and I talk a lot from a parent's perspective, because I know that there's a lot of parents all over the world who tune in to us. Let's start with our children. What kind of mindset are we helping our young people to create? That's a good question. And it leaves no room to be unanswered. We think about the mindsets of our children. We need to ask more important questions. Who is influencing the minds of our children, our young people, our inexperience? Start with that if you have any children or young people. And if you yourself are the model for your young people, what kind of mindset are you leaving for them to create? Mindset is all about your attitude, how you look at things around you. When you are very young, you start to discover your own world. In growth and development, a very young child notices everything. They start to notice their fingers as babies. And then they start to notice themselves when you put them against a mirror. They don't know that that's them, but they think that's another baby. So, hey, they've got a new friend. It starts from there. We want to just let you know from that point, from the time they enter into the world, they're introduced to so much discovery. But it's going to depend on how they see the world around them. It's important for us to discover as adults, and it's never too late to discover as you get older in life, because all your mindset is having to do with your beautiful brain and the power to use it. Are you able to use your brain powerfully, or do you need someone to tell you what to do? And we're not saying for the young to not ask for advice. And with that being said, we all need guidance. Now, if you've been doing things kind of your way and it hasn't been successful, I want you to stop and think about it. Why? Because you have the powerful ability to challenge your mindset. How's it working out for you? What I mentioned beforehand. How's life working for you when you decide that you don't need the advice, or that you see the world negatively, starting with yourself? Everything you do may seem negative. You can't find one good thing to say in regards to yourself. I want you to start like this morning. I am capable of using my amazing brain to make a better decision than I have made in the past. Each Monday is a start of a new week. Challenge yourself to use your mindset. We want to think about this, and we want you to understand you are capable. You are capable. Everyone got that? We're going to be right back. Promise you. Stay with us for Mindset Monday. Stay with us. Now, what have I done? Yes, we'll be right back.
Facing my eyes, facing my eyes.
Did you know that Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast has individual sessions and group sessions? Join us for your customized personal group or individual sessions. Ask us questions on our very own Direct Connect 661-503 8993. Yes, indeed, we're back, and we are here to talk to you about mindsetting. So, mindsetting, how do you use that? Are you using it as your tool, as your power tool? When we first started this podcast, we talked about power tools. Everyone needs power tools, and you men out here will agree and can identify every tool that you have in your toolbox. And if you can't, get to know what each are used for. Now, your power tools that you need for your mindset, if you have a brain, bingo, you have that. If you have the capability to think in that amazing brain of yours, and if you move it to action, that's your power. Because it's going to determine how you're going to use it. You know, many of us have tools that we don't use. I can verify that. If you've got a junk drawer at home, you probably have something that's in that junk drawer that you have no idea what its use is for, but now you're awakened to awareness about your powerful brain tool. Let's use it. Because it's going to help us in life's challenges. It's going to be the thing that helps us either to be resilient and bounce back from every challenge, or we're going to be stagnant. We're going to be at a standstill because we don't know how to use the power of our tool. Today, our power is our brain. Let's challenge it so that our outcomes in life are better than they were the day before. If you're not having positive outcomes, let's really ask ourselves the question. See, because I talk to many clients and I ask this one question: what in your life would you like to change? Some of my clients look at me like they've been struck by lightning. You see, because I asked the question, what in your life would you like to change? And they have not yet been awakened to awareness that they and them only have the power to change it. There's nothing I can do or say that is going to help them. And in 1 hour of time, it's going to take more to challenge your brain to change something in your life. And I want you all to think about what in your brain that you've been thinking about. I don't like the way this necessarily is, and I need to do something about it. Because you know what we say? I don't like that person, and I'm going to change that person. Or I really love or like that person, and I'm going to change them to do better. You have no power in those two things that I've said. The only power that you have is to change something about, within, and for who? Bingo, yourself. When you have mastered the challenge to be able to create for yourself action and responsive action to change something for you yourself. Many of us also are still on the kick of, let me change for that person because they'll love me better. They'll like me better. They won't reject me anymore because I'm going to do it for them, you don't have the power. But you do have the power to change something in yourself. Now, our vital question today is, if and when you want to, what would you like to challenge yourself to change? If you could write that down, what would you like to challenge yourself to change? You see, because I even have couples that may say, I want to change he, I want to change her, them, they, she, it. I'm telling you right now, the power is in your hands to motivate you to change something within yourself. And again, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't have to be to change something bad or ugly or good. Just needs a little change, transformation. Because sometimes we're going to wait. How many of you have ever waited to see what someone else thinks, and then you base your decision about what they've said, and you had a whole brain, but you didn't give it any thought until someone else said something about it? If you've ever experienced that, I want you to be able to point to your brain. We've done this exercise before. You know what's so amazing about the brain power and the mentality of the brain? That the brain has the capability to remember and hold and store so much information. It's like your library. Have you accessed it yet? Because libraries are becoming far and few, right? But you individually have in your mindset a storehouse of information from the very young age, from the time you were little, even now. And if you've lived long enough, you have stored a whole lot of information. What do you do with that information? You have your own personal library. What do you do? You know, a lot of people suffer from depression, and they suffer and they say, I don't know how to get out of that. Or they're suffering from something emotional, or they've been traumatized by something. How do you get out of it? You have to access it. It may be hard, it may be painful, but you'll never be free from it until you access your personal library. Your brain. What do you do with the information that you receive constantly? If we've lived 5 years, we have enough of 5 years. You ever watched a kid? Within 0 to 5 years, they have, by discovery, stored up information. They're really smart and can outsmart the smartest. If you ever saw a little kid use their mind. Now you may have lived 18, 20 years, 50 years and above. You've got a lot more information. And some of you are still saying you don't know what to do. And I like to challenge you when I ask you very important questions. What, why, how, where? You see, there's no need to talk over your head because I'm going to get on your level, because we all stand on level ground. I always say this. We're all standing on level ground. But do you appreciate that as you stand on level ground with me, that we're two different individuals? How do you access your library of experience? Because you see, those experiences set for you how things are going to play out. You remember the how, why, what, where, when. Ask yourself those questions. A lot of people say, Miss Nisi, you're really good at what you do. Like, all of you are doing your own work. And some of you have given up because you don't want to think for yourself. You want the answer given to you, and that's not how things work. When I was very young, I really appreciated something my mother always did. When I wanted to know what a word meant, my mother would say, look it up in the dictionaries, because we didn't have Google back then. Because Lord knows, it would have helped me so much. And I would have to get this big old thick dictionary and look those words up. Let me tell you something. My mom is a smart lady, because you see, by going to look those words up, I've stored them in my brain because of the experience of having access to the dictionary. And here's a fun thing you can do even with your kids. Challenge them, because see, now they have Google. They can look up things. My grandson and I love when he challenges me, because he's challenging himself. We were playing a game, and he wanted to know. I asked him a question about a toy shark, and I said, what do they eat? He says, Nana, let's ask Google. He's learned that. You see, the smart outsmarting the smart, and he'll never forget what sharks eat. Challenge yourself, your families, your it, they, them, her, she. Challenge them. Because you see, what is in your mindset will come out and decide for you your mental state. Now, we're not by any means telling you that if you're struggling with depression, if you're struggling with anxiety, not to seek professional help. Let's be clear on this. If you need that help, I want you to get that help. In the meantime, I want you to challenge yourself. Now, some of us challenge ourselves less. We hesitate. We procrastinate. We're undecisive. We don't have resolutions because we don't want the resolution. We sit on the fence. That is a person that is known as a weak-minded person. So the next time that you say, oh, that person's weak, I want you to think about yourself. Are you hesitant? I'm going to tell you without saying a whole lot. If any clients have been in bad relationships, why are you still not really willing to change things? Because see, what you're doing is waiting for him, them, she, it to make the change, when you have the power to make changes. You are hesitant. And so when I say, how long you been in that relationship, you would give me an insurmountable number. When the first time it happened, you should have used your brain power to say why did I stay too long. One day, I want you to be able to access your brain power even in the negative relationships you may or may not be in. I want you to think about that and how your mindset, what it does to you, and how it can affect you. I love this thought. We are not our mindsets, but our mindsets influence everything in our lives. And our thinking determines our mindset, both of which can be changed. You ever heard of a changed mind? I want you to think about that changed mind as if saying, I've changed my mind. I give myself permission to change my mind. Many people do that. We're going to go back to childhood because this is what this podcast really is stemming from. How we grow and develop as children. You ever been a kid and you go to a toy store and you think that you're going to buy something and you go and you buy something, but then you come out with something else? Have you had that experience, anybody?
I have.
Yeah, what was that like for you because we're talking about a child age now. What was that experience like for you? How many times did you change your mind while you were in that store?
I changed my mind a lot when I was in that store. I was about 6 years old. I wanted a Baby Live doll, but I left. But I changed my mind. I said no. Let me get a stuffed teddy bear instead. I was hoping for that doll. My dad said, "What do you want?" And I told him what I wanted. When we passed the dolls, I saw the stuffed bear. I'll never forget it, and I got that instead.
Yeah. See, you're allowed to change your mind. Parents, I want to talk to you for a moment. When your children change their minds, allow them permission to rethink, because that's what they're doing. They're rethinking it. Because a lot of times we get frustrated and we say, well, I thought you were going to buy this, but you came in here and bought this. We're not frustrated at them. We're frustrated because they're taking so long and you got something to do. But let them experience the change in their mind. For those of you who have lived very different lives, maybe you've come from abuse. Maybe the abuse was heaped on you through no fault of your own. Or maybe you're going through some kind of addiction. You have the right to change your mind as to how you will or will not be treated. Because why? You're accountable. I hope that, ladies and gentlemen, you and I can really think about our mindset. We're going to be right back. I promise you. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with Vibe Talk, Facing the Lion. Vibe Talk Facing the Lion is all about positive emotions, and feelings. Join us live on our very own Facebook page. We're back, and we're talking about mind setting. Today is Motivational Monday, and mind setting is a great way to think about yourselves and how you're doing with your mind setting. How are you doing? Are you able to think for yourself, think about yourself, and think within yourself? That's power when you're able to do that. Now, when you think about mindsets, is your mindset growth or is your mindset different? Because mindsets happen to be part of who you are. The most powerful thing about the mind is that the mind can adjust to change. The mind can start to believe whatever it is that you tell it. You see, having emotions and mental health, emotional health and mental health is on the rise. Having podcasts like this or similar to this, why is it on the rise? Because so many people dismiss their power to be able to know that they can challenge themselves. They don't have to be stuck. They don't have to be stifled. They don't have to believe the negativity that they've been told throughout the years. Many of you have had stories of abuse, and you've carried that abuse from the time that it started until this present day. You have permission by your own ability to be able to say, I am not my abuse. If that's all you can say at this point, I need you to say that. The brain has the ability to respond to what it is that you are saying to it. Have you ever been in a fearful state of mind and your will to fight is survival? You have survived what it is that feared you. I'll illustrate it this way as it gets deeper. Because my experience is being terrified of a dog that I do not know. Now, if that dog is chasing me, I have this incredible power to run and get away from that dog. You know, they say, don't run because you're going to get bit. If I see that dog chasing me, guess what I'm going to do? You got it. Run. Because that's the survival. My mindset tells me I need to get to safety. See how powerful the mindset is? Because I'm feared of something. Many men and women have had things happen to them. They have been violated. And they've had incredible power to stay alive. because the mindset said, I need to survive this. I want you to think about the power that you have in this. You know what it's called? Expectation. You have told yourself from that point on, when you have faced fear, tragedy, you've set an expectation that you will survive this. Even if you feel like you won't, you're going to get someone who says, you're strong, you can do it. And that's easier said than done, because they're not the one who have experienced it. But your belief system says, I gotta survive this. You are powerful. You are powerful. I want you to think about your mental strength and ask yourself, what things, past or present, have I shown the mindful power? Everyone's is going to look different. Some may be similar. Wherever you are right now, I want you to think about your mental strength. I want you to think about your mind, your brain, the access to it. There's nothing like a key that opens the door to something that you really want to get into. There's nothing like that. So I want you to use the power of your key to access yourself. I want you to be able to, from this day forward, know that you have the power to improve your ability. How do I respond to things in my life? I'm doing that at this point in my life. I am a professional life and wellness coach, as you all know. I've spent many hours in my study for this, not some person that's coming off the street, but I know what I'm talking about. Comfort zones are easy for us to lay in them, but try something new of discovery. What daily routines do you have? What makes you comfortable? What is self-talk of compassion? When you write something down, make it personal about yourself and how you feel. Make it something personal about yourself. I want you to mind your way to be well enough to motivate yourself. Understanding yourself. Being able to develop what you want to make better. Remember, that was the first question I asked you. Because some of us aren't connecting with ourselves as often as we need to. We check into the physical gym, but we're not. We're checking out of our mental and emotional gyms of mindfulness and not returning. I want you to think about your mental strength. How do you connect to be able to, excuse me, help yourself be strong, challenging the tough times, and being able to resist things that are internally and externally influencing your life. In other words, we have many of you who are recovering from drug addiction. Some of you are sober and you've been sober for many years. How are you able to resist the need to abstain from the very thing that got you there to begin with? How are you able to resist that? Your internal struggle and your outside external. See, don't let that be the thing that clouds your mind to make best decisions. I want you to be able to think about your well-being. If you fall, you can always stand tall. Come a little closer. I said, if you fall, you can always stand tall. How many of you get that? Trish, what do you think about that?
I think that means if I fail or stumble, just as much as I can fail, I can also win. I can always also succeed.
Yeah. Because if you fall, you ever watch a baby fall when it's trying to walk? They challenge themselves without even knowing it. How many babies have fallen and never got back up? Learn the power of that. They want to walk. We cheer you on to stand tall. We cheer you on to be able to know you have the power to be able to face whatever threats there may be, whatever fears there may be, even the uncertainties of our lives. We challenge you to become mentally strong. I want to thank all of you for being here with us for this hour, and we're going to turn it over to Trish. Trish?
As we all know, we have cell phones, and our cell phones have settings. And when you go to your settings, you have display. And display is the function of how you want your phone to look like, whether it's in light mode or dark mode, or if you want your text speech to sound, American or English. Like, that's your settings of your phone and how you want it to be. And you have control over that. And there are some people that might say, why is your phone on dark mode? Why is it on dark mode? That's not good for you. That's not good for your eyes. Or they say, your phone is too bright. Turn your brightness down. But it's your phone. It's how you have it set. It's your settings. So what I'm trying to say is you have control of how you view things and how your mindset is. The past that you have controls your mindset, and you also can experience new experiences to change your mind, because it is possible to change your mindset on certain things. I have to learn that myself because I have a stubborn mentality. It's hard for me to change my mind on certain things when I know it will help me. For example, being stubborn in working on a healthy diet. Usually I love eating what I love to eat, but I have to change my mind and saying I can do that, but don't overdo it. Because you can love things, but loving it too much is also an issue. So you have to have a limit, know that capable of doing what you want to do. Be confident, motivate yourself. Nobody can motivate yourself better than you can. Because why? It starts with you. So build your mindset. You have control over your mindset. You have the power.
Thank you so much for that. You spoke on having control. And here's where your mind control is. When you have that sense of control of yourself, it motivates you to keep trying. And from the keep trying, you grow. And you're able to make solutions solvable for yourself. And you know that falling that I talked about? We learn to, when we fall, get up, stand tall. That means we're not giving up so easily. I want you all to think about using discretion, knowing who to listen to and what to listen to. Learn to develop within yourself mental toughness. Stay focused. Even if that means that people are going to disagree with you or you're feeling afraid. Let's get courage, the lion's courage, to be able to set our sources high for how we feel, think, and believe about our own selves. Let's be certain that survival is not a privilege. Survival means life. And you're all capable of mindsetting yourself to survival. I want to thank Trish, my co-host, for stopping in. We want to also tell you that in case you will miss any of this podcast, we're on YouTube. This will be on YouTube. Please find us. Please subscribe to the page. Tell us what you think. Answer the questions. If you have anything you want to say, we have Vibe Talk Direct Connect, 661-503-8993. Thank you for joining Motivational Monday. And our last question for the day. Trish, you want to ask that last question for the day?
Yes, I will. What have you learned or discovered about yourself today, and what is your experience like here today?
I'll start with me. I've learned about myself that even in the times of feeling like I was weak-minded, that I really was just the opposite and very determined. Because when I fell, I got back up. I'm so thankful I did that. And the way I feel about this is to celebrate myself, because it never meant that I was weak. It just meant that I had to learn how to access myself more than I did the day before. Now, Trish, I ask you the same question, and I ask you, audience, because you can answer right along with us wherever you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platforms. What did you discover about yourself during this mindset motivation today? And how did it make you feel?
So I learned that my mind is, it can be a source. The reference you used is the library, and I made it I thought of it being like a source for me to access the survival skills or confidence or positive mindset or optimistic mindset that I usually have. So I'm going to use my mind more as a source of motivating myself and keeping my confidence going. In my experience here today, it was enlightening because today I am motivated and my mindset is very persistent today. So that was my experience here today.
Strong mindset. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this Motivational Monday. And in case you didn't notice, we also partake of Transformation Tuesday, making a change. So important. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you here next time on another podcast episode of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Don't forget, check out our YouTube channel as this one will be posted. Have a good day, everyone. I wish you more mindset. Because I don't want you just to make a resolution.
I was really about to lose it, then I got the vibe with it. Really too much time with it. I really love to ride with it. Really got the vibe with it. Too much time with it. I really love to ride with it. If I see you better you. When you get the vibe with it, yeah. When you get the vibe with it, yeah. I gotta just say something. It's about